I'm Ben, you're watching Nature with Us, Northern Wild Plants, and I'm going to talk about growing red osier dogwood from seed. Clusters of white flowers like this appear in the early summer, and then fruits will develop from those in the late summer. It's August, and they're just starting to soften up and become ripe, and there's one large seed. It's important to pick the seeds when they're soft and when they fall off the plant easily, because then that's when you know they're fully developed. Their cell structure is developed, and naturally they would come off anyways, and you're not forcing them off. And while they're still green like this, for example, I wouldn't pick this one. It's important that the fruit is removed, their surrounding fleshy fruit is removed from the seed in order for it to grow, because otherwise there's growth inhibitors that will keep the seed from germinating. Now this is the easiest way that I know of, is just to put some potting soil, as long as it's loose and fluffy and not too heavy and compacted. As long as it's a little bit moist, the fruits themselves will decompose and add some more moisture to the soil. Here's my seed bin. Can't even see it, it's so covered with weeds. But here's an example of what it might look like after it's decomposed. So these are hawthorn seeds, and they've just been thrown in here with the fruit on and everything. So after you've gathered these in the late summer or fall, and they decompose in the bag with the soil, you throw them in the fridge, or you can just leave them out for the winter and let them cold stratify. So the seeds need to go through that cold period to break their dormancy. In the spring, I'd then fill a flat like this with potting soil, and then take the stratified mixture in the Ziploc bag and just spread it right over the top. They would then pop up as tiny little seedlings just randomly. It took about a month or two. It took a while for them to germinate, but once they did, they were quite easy to grow. They germinated at a fairly good rate, and they had a nice strong taproot and nice thick stems when they germinated. These are actually velvet leaf blueberry. These aren't dogwood. I already transplanted all of my dogwoods, but just as an example, they would pop up randomly like this, and they would not pop up all at the same time. Just like these blueberries, a lot of native plants are like that. They're not cultivated. They're not engineered by people to grow all at the same time and be easy like that. So you might have to just keep the flat around for a while and transplant them as they pop up, and then wait for the smaller ones to grow a little bit bigger and then transplant them a little bit at a time. Just as a side note, you can grow red osier dogwood with cuttings. You might have a bit more luck doing it in the very early spring before they leaf out, but you can do them after they leaf out. But I do find it is a little bit harder to grow them by cuttings than it is just by seed. This is what they look like as finished seedlings. Some of them are bigger than others. As you can see, they were all planted at the exact same time, but because they all popped up at random different times, roughly 1 to 2 months in, some are much bigger than others, but nonetheless they were quite easy to grow. And I took the small seedlings from the flats and transplanted them into individual soil blocks, but you can of course use whatever you'd like. Just make sure the soil is fairly rich, well drained soil. It doesn't have to be, super well drained, but rich and lots of moisture, because they do like to grow in ditches and along rivers and places with access to water. So make sure you do keep them moist. I think that's pretty much it. If you like these videos, I'm going to do more of them, all about native plants, finding them, using them, and growing them. I'm in northern BC in the Prince George area. So if you like this type of thing, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment if you have any questions or have any tips, or if you've grown dogwoods before and would like to say anything about it, please let me know. Thanks very much for watching.